Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Helberg, and I wanted to take a moment to thank you all for coming together to discuss one of the biggest challenges to global peace and stability, the terrorist sponsoring regime in Tehran. For many of you, this issue is a personal one. You may have family members living without basic rights, friends discriminated against for speaking their minds, or you may have just become utterly shocked at how the regime treats its own people. For Jewish people like myself, this issue is a personal one too. As everyone here knows, the Iranian regime does not just seek to terrorize and repress its own people, it seeks to fund chaos and export violence abroad as well. It armed and trained Hamas and greenlit the barbaric October 7 attacks, which killed more than 1,000 innocent Israelis and brought war to the Middle East. It funded Hezbollah and supported its attacks against Israel from Lebanon, all the while helping the Houthis essentially close one of the world's most vital shipping routes in the Red Sea. And it's repeatedly called for the total annihilation and destruction of the world's only Jewish state, Israel. They're not going at this alone either. The regime has found plenty of friends in low places. As we now know, Iran has sent drones to Russia to support Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine. Their primary source of income has been Chinese oil purchases. And at the UN this week, China's top diplomat openly pledged support for safeguarding the Iranian regime's, quote, sovereignty, security, territorial integrity, and national dignity. Now, for those who don't speak Mandarin, we know that this is Orwell speak for promoting terrorism, repressing its people, interfering in Western elections, pursuing the development of more lethal weapons, and threatening Israel and the US in the Middle East and beyond. Iran, alongside China, Russia, and North Korea, has decided to create a new authoritarian axis that seeks to reverse the outcome of the Cold War, destroy the US-led order, and replace it with its own autocratic system that stands in sharp contrast to everything the free world values and represents. This has helped push the world to its most dangerous breaking point since World War II, and it's going to take groups like this one to come together and push for policies that reverse this trend. I believe that starts at the most basic level with restoring the Trump administration's maximum pressure campaign against Iran to cut off its ability to fund groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. It includes working with allies in the region to continue to build on the Abraham Accords as a counterweight to the terrorist regime in Tehran. And most importantly, it means ending any attempt to resuscitate the lifeless corpse that is the Iran nuclear deal and using every deterrent at our disposal to ensure that this regime doesn't get the lifeline that it so desperately craves, a nuclear weapon. In many ways, our decision to abandon those three basic principles and return to the flawed diplomacy without deterrence thinking of the Obama era has directly shaped the events unfolding in the Middle East today. If you don't believe me, just look at how desperately the Iranian government is working to keep the status quo. They're at the UN begging US officials to re-engage on a new nuclear agreement. They're hacking the Trump campaign and shopping what they can find to both the Harris campaign and media outlets in any attempt to help Vice President Harris. And they're even going so far as to trying to assassinate President Trump to keep him out of office. This is not the behavior befitting of a country that belongs in the community of nations. This is the behavior of a mad dog gone rogue, and you cannot reward belligerent behavior and expect an improvement. You say no, you impose consequences, and you hold firm. And they know that this is exactly what the Trump administration will do, which is what makes them so afraid of him winning this November. But to say that President Trump is the only person they fear is untrue. More than anything, this current regime is afraid of its own people, which is why they have tormented protesters and repeatedly cracked down on any form of dissent within its borders. But that hasn't stopped courageous Iranians like the ones joining us today from fighting back against this evil regime. From the Green Movement of 2009 to the protests against the Iranian president outside of the UN this week in New York City, the Iranian people have shown us time and again their hopes and longing for a free Iran at peace with itself and with the world. Just know this, we hear you, we support you, and we stand with you in your fight for basic freedoms and economic opportunity. Gatherings like these are a reminder of Iran's historic importance and the heights it could reach if its people were free. This gathering is a reminder tyranny in Iran is not an inevitability. A new chapter could still be written in Iran's long history. And I'm confident that the conversations you'll have today will bring us closer to a free Iran and all the economic and national benefits that come with it. And I look forward to seeing what ideas come out and stand ready to be of assistance to you however I can. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this important conference.